What's going on, everybody? My name is Enoch. This is my beautiful brother, James. You are now listening to the Blood Brothers Podcast. Let's go. Welcome back to the Blood Brothers Podcast, everybody. Y'all know how we like to do it before we get going. Let's bow our heads. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this moment. Use us right now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
A to the men.
What's the word, man?
I mean, obviously, it's my go-to say the mission statement, and that's always going to remain the same because we're consistent, and our patterns always remain consistent.
Pretty much.
Empower men to become leaders in society under God's law. Consequently, we're setting the standard for men, women, and other children, teaching them what it is to be a real man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are wrapping up our relationship series, man.
Love this series. This might be my favorite.
Yeah, by far, definitely the favorite. We just finished up marriage last week.
Hope they enjoyed it. Hope they got some good pieces. I mean, I even learned, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I listened back and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
Fire. So today we're going to wrap it up with this relationship series talking about parenting.
Love parenting.
Yeah, and the relationships within parenting and things like that. Last week we touched on culture a little bit. I guess that's going to play a little bit of part into, parenting and things like that.
A little bit.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty much.
It's going to be a majority.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm probably going to touch more so on parenting within marriage, because I can speak to that. I can speak to other situations, but there's something I want to bring to you that I feel like you're best fit to speak to this.
Okay.
So as far as parenting within, as we call in culture, a blended family.
Okay. Yeah, so let's talk about that. That'll help.
Yeah. So I want you to touch on that a little bit, but I want you to take a different look at it. Because right now you have the aspect of you had a child and your wife came into that situation.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to speak to a man's perspective as if he was dating a woman, she has a child, and he wants to take that next step into marriage and then, parenting of that child. I feel like that's something we don't hear often, and that's why I didn't tell you about this earlier. I didn't want you to have time to think about it. I want you to be as candid as possible because it's kind of a reversal of your situation. So I feel like you're best fit to speak on, I'm coming into this situation. We've been dating for a while. I want to take that next step into marriage, but she has a child, so I've never been in that situation, so I don't know if I'm the child. Do I say that to my son? Do I treat him as my father? Like,
oh boy! All right, so you want to talk about? Let me write this down because reverse role.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first, before we even enter that, I think it's important that we identify the purpose of parenting, right? And basically the principles of parenting. The way I view parenting is like this. It's like a train, right? The actual train is the one that's guiding all of the little stations that's attached to it, right? So as a parent, and I'm saying that generically just because there are some single mothers out there, there are some single dads out there. Of course, we want both parties to be on the same track, but it doesn't always work out that way.
That's true.
So I'm just going to say it generically as a parent. As long as you stay on track, no pun intended, the rest of the trains will follow.
That is true.
So in simple terms, your mentality, the way you live your life, your lifestyle, the way you think, the way you eat, everything affects that track and that train and how it flows. So in simple terms,
that's a great analogy because the middle of the train, the back of the train can't go anywhere unless the front is going.
It's the engine. It's the engine, the driving force that pulls it along. And your goal is to create, as a parent, a whole bunch of trains, right? So if you have kids, you want to make them a train, and then they're going to continue on and have their own track, which is their own steps to become what they're supposed to be.
That's low key biblical when it says train up a child in the way that they should go. Ooh.
You know, I didn't want to OD, but you get me. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, okay.
I'm not a thief. I'm not a thief.
I'm with you.
Right? I'm not a thief. I'm gonna give the sites to Dr. Miles Monroe. He put me onto that. I do watch a lot of parenting, father sermons, and it's because it's important to me. And one thing I think that is extremely important is that when you do become a parent, you have to find someone that you can look up to or seek advice from to become the best parent possible.
Yep.
Now, I know some people are against like counseling and things like that, but just keep in mind, the trauma that you dealt with as a child, it will come out as a parent.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's important that you deal with any childhood trauma, anything that which we was talking about last week, and anything that needs to be questioned. Make sure you question it. It's extremely important.
Yeah.
And most above and beyond, and above all, right? Just keep this in mind. When you become a parent and that relationship is born, you're not just a normal individual anymore.
Yeah, those
right?
days are over.
Those days of a selfish mentality and really, just looking out for your best interests, they throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I promise you, there should be nothing that's more important than being a good parent.
Yes.
But
yeah.
That was just my little foundation speech, so.
Yeah, I've seen so many. There's so many stories out there where you see kids later on and they have issues, and you talk to them, and it all starts from when they were a child and their parents. I see so many situations like that.
That is, and if we really want to get technical, a lot of times it's no fathering.
Yeah. Yep.
Majority of the time. If I could put a percentage on it, it's probably like 70-30.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that the fact that you brought that up, it stands true. Even the show that we're watching, what's that show called?
Last Chance U.
If you look, everything
all
is
father issues.
Wow. And I think the reason why children struggle with not having a father is more so because of you lacking identity. Your father gives you a sense of identity and purpose and confidence. But we're gonna tap into that more. Let's go to the point where you were talking. So explain that question to me one more time, because that was a lot. I ain't gonna front. Go ahead.
So now you ready to take the next step with your girl. Y'all been dating for a while. You say, yeah, she's the one. I want to take that next step. But there's this little hump in the road that I'm not sure how to deal with. She has a child. So I've never had a child. I've never committed to a child, but I'm ready to commit to her. How do I parent this child as I ask her to be my wife, and knowing that I'm not the actual father? How do I treat the child?
All right. Well, first, before you even step up to the plate in that forum, you have to consider two things. Is the child's father in the child's life? That's very important.
Yeah.
And I say that because you don't want to overstep your boundaries, but you don't want to misrepresent yourself either. What do I mean by that? You don't want to discipline a child to the point where he has to say, yo, you're not my father, right? But you don't want him to misinterpret your position in his life as a male role model, right? So the dynamics change when there's no father involved, because he'll probably gravitate to you more if he doesn't have another male, right? Then the other part of it is you have to consider timeline. How young did you enter into this child's life?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I would say the crucial years would probably be after 8.
Okay.
After the age of
Okay.
8, children are very receptive of their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just one of those situations where you have to consider when you're with the child from when they're very young,
Mm-hmm.
they automatically gravitate to you as the parent,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially if you're consistent.
Mm-hmm.
For me, what I would consider, I would definitely just look at the relationship that the child has with the father,
Mm-hmm.
um, and consider what is the father and the mother's relationship.
Relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
I
but even at the same time, do you feel like me? Let's say we're married now.
mhm.
Does the relationship with her? Do I? How do I say this? Do I? Am I over? Like, you know, am I over their relationship in a sense?
Is your marriage over whose relationship? The
The
father,
mother and the father.
100%. I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
you don't, and I want to say it's as respectful as possible, but
Mm-hmm.
the relationship between between the mother of your child and
Mm-hmm.
your, let's say, significant other,
Mm-hmm.
it's not close.
Yeah.
It's not even parallel,
Yeah.
right? You have to understand the positions. Although you have a child together, that's all it is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? And it's sad to say it that way, but that's all it is. We have a
Mm-hmm.
child together, and it's a business,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's how you conduct it. This is business. I want time with my child. We have to communicate for that purpose only,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. And if a person that you're marrying or you're pursuing, if they can't accept your position from the hierarchy, and not saying that you're better than anybody, but as
Mm-hmm.
the foundation of the family,
Yeah.
then you have to consider, is that person the right person to be with,
Mm.
right? Because to me, if you don't accept a man who's trying to be your husband,
Mm-hmm.
right, over a man who has came and left,
Hmm.
what does that say about your expectations as a woman?
Wow. That's true.
Right? It shows your
True.
character. So if I know that I'm pursuing a woman who has a child, first I'll look at their relationship. I'll
Mm-hmm.
consider what is the dynamics of the relationship. I wouldn't impose as much as I would be a witness to what goes on.
Okay.
And when I say that, I mean I would sit back in the beginning and
Mm-hmm.
just see the process. How much do they communicate? What kind of
Mm-hmm.
communication do they have?
Mm-hmm.
Does she still have feelings for him?
Yeah.
Is she
Yeah.
jealous of his relationship with another party?
Yeah.
Is he jealous of me
Mm-hmm.
being the guy? All of those things play a major part. And I say that because obviously in my situation,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be with my son's mother at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it doesn't bother me one bit that she
Yeah.
has a relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
For me, I encourage it. I want
Uh-huh.
that. Wonderful. My son doesn't complain about you. I have
Mm-hmm.
nothing to say about you. I have
Yeah.
his number. We communicate when I have to pick him up. I
Yeah.
actually build a relationship with him because he's going to be around my son. Period.
Mm.
Now, if you're coming from the outside in,
Yeah.
you have to look at and really be honest with yourself. Don't be oblivious to, to what y'all doing, and
Mm-hmm.
don't be oblivious to that. You got to
Yeah.
be honest with yourself. Like, hey, listen, is this woman a bitter woman towards the gentleman?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that bitterness has to stem from somewhere.
Okay.
And
Okay.
usually it stems from feelings.
Okay. Now, if let's say me and her married now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I do I have to ask my wife to give me authority over the child, or do I come in saying like we're married now, I'm taking authority over the child?
Okay, when you say authority, you have to be very specific. Not
Mm-hmm.
you. I get what you're
Yeah,
saying,
yeah, yeah.
but everybody's perspective of authority is different.
That's true.
So
That's true. So
I
let's say
don't
the
look
authority of what I say go.
of addressing the household.
Yeah.
Yes, the rules
Mm-hmm.
and regulations of the house
Mm-hmm.
are governed by me and your mother, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but obviously and I don't even want to say you have the final say, but she has to respect you enough to understand your perspective as long as your perspective is respectable.
That's why character is so important.
Exactly. She's not gonna clock you if she knows your intention and she knows your character as the man in her life now. Now, when you speak on discipline and, you know, punishment and beating and stuff like that, me personally, you know, I don't promote spankings and stuff like that. I'm a quick little pop, you know, push up position.
Yeah.
I'll say this, I'm very creative with my punishments.
Yeah.
But and we're gonna get into that as well.
Yeah,
but
we need to get into that.
We're gonna get into that as well. But but when you speak on authority, remember, authority comes with great responsibility. So if you're a man coming into a position where a woman grants you authority over and to steward the home, you have to take very great precautions to be a genuine caring person. Right? Because you don't want your authority to turn into a dictatorship, because that's not what it is. Your authority is that she's trusting you to be a positive male role model in her child's life and be the husband that you vowed to be. So the authority that you speak of, it comes second nature. It's not something that has to be spoken about, right? It's going to be a natural respect from the child and the wife.
Wow.
Right?
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, you know, that's and I'm glad we're talking about parenting today, but if a man's going into that type of situation, you have to be more than secure within yourself.
Oh yeah.
Right?
100%.
You can't be a little boy taking on a family.
Yeah. So that's real. Understanding that it comes with the package. There's no, I'm just marrying you. That kid that's you and your baby father situation.
Yeah, there's no such
that
thing.
on.
Nah, you take it all on. And as men, I think it's important that you have that dialogue with the other man and let him understand, like, listen, I'm not coming here to be your child's father. If anything, I'm promoting you in his life.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be around when you're not able to be there because of the situation. But I want you to know your child is in the best hands outside of your own and his mom, you know, and that means a lot more to someone than a man trying to come in imposing, you know, making it like an ego contest, right? Because
definitely keep the egos out of it.
You got to keep your egos out of it. That's not even optional. And it's hard. It's hard for guys. I mean, me, like, if you're asking me, when I got married, obviously I was on the reverse end of it. But speaking from my wife's point of view, I told her from the beginning what it was, as far as my stance on how I address my son's mother and the boundaries that I have and the standards that I have. And it's important that those parties address those standards and boundaries before anything happens, meaning the mother and the father.
Okay.
So that there's never any confusion when the person moves on, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about a certain kind of relationship with parents and child. I think you might look at it different. So how do you feel about parents and their children and considering them friends?
Friends?
Yeah. How do you look at that? Like, my child is my friend, and you know.
The way I consider it is I'm everything to my child. So a friend would be included. And what do I mean by that? It's more so this, right? You don't want to be such a dictator to your child that they can't come to you.
Yeah.
You want to have communication as a genuine friend. You want to have authority in the sense of protecting them and guiding them as a parent. And then you want to set the example as a man or woman to be, you know, a role model. So there's different dynamics to it. And I just believe friend is just another dynamic to it. Right? It's just, I will say this. It's what do you view friendship as?
See, I think this is where that cultural thing comes in. Cause me, I wouldn't consider my child my friend, right? And
Okay.
here's why.
Mm-hmm.
I am your parent, right? So
Okay.
in parenting, good parenting, there's a whole bunch of things that come with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I look at if I'm your friend, you know that with your friends, there are certain standards, right? You can have a friend and then you're not your friend anymore. I'm your parent forever. So I look at it, if I say you're my friend, then you feel like you can disown me in a way, or feel like you can step out on boundaries. That's why I kind of lean away from the friend part of parenting and say, like, no, I'm your parent. Like, I'm going to be everything for you. But like how your parents say, I'm not your friend. Don't play with me. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of my mindset. Like, I'm not your friend because I'm never going to leave you. Your friend can leave you. Your friend can go and come back. Me, I'm never going anywhere. That's how I look at when you parents say their child friend.
Okay, so I want to dissect what you just said so we can get to the root of it, right? All right.
Yeah.
So you just said, I'm not your friend. I can't leave you. All right. Now, we have a friendship, right?
Yeah.
We speak openly, right?
Yeah.
We have no problem speaking the truth to one another, you know, addressing issues that are uncomfortable, bringing things to the table that, most people won't bring to the table.
Yeah.
Right. This is why I said, what is your perspective of friend? Because yes, you're saying I'm your parent, I can never leave you, but that wouldn't be necessarily true, because what happens when you die?
I mean, because I leave stuff with you, so I technically don't leave you.
Well, your friends leave stuff with you too. The same thing that you would leave as that, you would leave with when you die, right? You're gonna leave certain things with your children, right? You might leave more,
Yeah.
right? But for the most part, I can look back on, I'm pretty sure you can too. You can look back on people that you had in your life that you considered friends and think of the experience that you had together and what it left you, whether it was positive or negative. When I say friend, I'm not saying I'm speaking on the communication aspect of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, biologically, I gave you life, so I technically can't be a friend because we're related.
Yeah.
Right? I think the analogy of I'm not your friend, I'm your parent, it stems from the authority of who you want to be to the child, right? So I don't ever want you, basically you're saying we're not peers.
Yeah.
We're not peers. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you say to your child, we're not peers, in what aspect, right? Because the question I would say as a child, speaking up to a parent, I would say that. I would say, well, if we're not peers, then what are we? Right? You're my parent, but in retrospect of what you're teaching me and the principles that you're teaching me as a person, I believe that we are peers. Right? I would ask you, I would challenge you and say, we are peers. And you would say, well, how? I would say, you would say how? And I would go, well, you're teaching me that I'm made in God's image. And you're made in God's image. So what makes us different? Yes, you're my parent. You're my parent 100%. Not taking that away from you.
Yeah.
But when it comes to who you want your child to be, you have to consider what seed you plant into their mind. So when you say, I'm not your parent, right, you're automatically talking down to them.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Because it's almost like you want to impose your authority on your child.
That's true.
But the truth of the matter is, a good parent doesn't have to impose authority. The respect comes because you're a good parent.
Yeah.
Right? I'm pretty sure you look at God as authority. Right? But he didn't tell you. I mean, obviously he speaks authoritative. But it's his nature and who he is to you that makes you respect him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to impose. He never imposes on your will to believe that he's authority. Like he doesn't come to you and go, Enoch, I'm your authority. You have to you know what I mean? Like, I mean, in that sense, he might advise you. He might give you guidance, which is a good parent. But the respect that you're looking for doesn't have to come from, yo, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent. Because automatically it's almost like you're speaking down instead of speaking to life into them. If anything, instead of using those type of analogies, it should be, well, let's address what happened. Right? Because usually when you say that, that means something happened. They overstep their boundaries in some way.
Yeah.
Right? But keep in mind this too. Although they might overstep their boundaries, it's in their nature to do that.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying every child is bad. That's not the analogy. I'm just talking about naturally, as God made creation, right? He gave us that authority. So a lot of times misguided authority is stepping out of bounds. Now, is it your job to guide them? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm your parent. And that is, yes, I'm your parent. I love you. I would never want anything to happen to you.
Yeah.
But I do agree with what you're saying, though. It's definitely a cultural.
Yeah. It goes. It's a little bit of both, because it's like, I guess it would depend at the situation that would consider it a friendship. Like, for an example, let's say their friend are advising them to do something that, like, listen, I'm your parent. I'm not your friend. Like, because like that younger age is like, y'all all trying to do the same things.
That's
like,
not,
I'm not one of your little friends. So
I get you.
I can speak from a parenting, because I care about you in a different way that your friend doesn't care about you.
That's
you know
true.
What I'm saying?
But see, that's where the friendship part is even more valuable. Because remember this, right? When you just said that, a lot of times children's friends become more influential than the parents, because they learn how to communicate with them. They can communicate with their peers more effectively. A lot of kids don't communicate with their parents because of the hierarchy, and they're afraid to separate the two.
That's true.
Right? So they're scared to say, oh man, like, I don't want to tell my mom this, I don't want to tell my dad this, right? But they're quick to tell their friend, because they have that type of relationship. So the minute you start putting those, I'm your parent and that, right? What you do is you start to plant a seed in them that they can't communicate things with you. And to me, that's more scary than me trying to impose my authority on your life.
That's true.
Like, I would much rather you feel more comfortable coming to me, so that way, let's just say one of your peers do come to you and say, hey, yo, let's go smoke, or yo, let's go drink, right?
You can come to me now.
You feel more comfortable with me, and our friendship overrides any friendship that you can have outside of this home.
I like that.
You know what I mean? And that's just always how I viewed it, because I never wanted to have my kids say they have a better friend than their dad. To me, that's an insult. Like, nah, my dad, he's my dad, but he's really my friend. And then, of course, I look at friendship at a very high level. So to me, that's a compliment, right? As me teaching him what a friend is,
that's
right?
True.
I'm teaching him the characteristics of a good friend.
So you would say, yeah, you got friends, but I'm your best friend.
And I always say that. I tell my kids, I'm your best friend.
I'm your best friend. You're going to have friends, but I'm your best friend.
Exactly. I'm your best friend. Trust me. I care about you more than all of those people. They don't mean nothing. I'm about to
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. But that's like, and it's little things that are just planted in us subconsciously.
Yeah, because I couldn't even, it took me later on to be able to talk to my parents about certain things. Like, as I was older, like grown.
Yeah, and it probably took I'm sure it took a lot out of you, because it's like they teach you that you're below them so long, right? And one thing that I always did, and this is from when Cam was young, but we always just spoke, right? He'll be like, man, Daddy, you my best friend. Like, he'll just tell me, like, yo, you my best friend, right? And as a parent, that's a great compliment to have. That means that I trust you. I can come to you. I can depend on you. Think about what a friend really is, right? So if you're saying that you hold friends in a high esteem, think about it in this retrospect. If you have the ability to choose your friends, you want to choose them wisely. So for your child to acknowledge you as a friend, that's a wise decision.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't want them to ever feel, it's not even insubordinate, not even insubordinate. You don't want them to feel lower than
like
they actually are. Insecure, but more so in a mental aspect. You don't want them to feel like I can't go to my friend because or my parent because they're gonna get mad at me or whatever.
It's a
right?
mental insecurity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a seed planted. It's same thing.
Yeah.
If you really want to, if you could go biblical with it, a lot of people fear God, right?
Yeah.
People say, yeah, I only fear God, which is understandable.
Yeah, but what do you mean by that?
Exactly, right? You fear God, okay, but at the end of the day, God is a great friend.
Exactly.
He's a great friend. He's a great parent. So, like I said, I could understand why parents say it.
Yeah.
But it's always important to understand the root of why you say it. It's not like just saying things aren't enough. Why are you saying it? Like I get what you're saying. You don't want them to overstep their boundaries. But think about it. Even if they did happen to make a mistake and overstep their boundaries, you would be the first person they ran to because you're their friend.
Exactly. That's true. That's true. And
right?
That, like you said, letting them express themselves.
Yeah.
When you start cutting that off early, it just gets lower and lower where they don't express themselves to you. They go to somebody else. So even now I let Eli express himself, but I can feel myself chipping away at the old mentality that I grew up with. So when I'm hearing him express himself, I just be like, all right, okay. And then we talk, right? So Eli does this thing now where he says, that's mine. I'm Eli, right? Normally, I would say like, yo, I know who you are. Who you talking to like that? He'd be like, I'm Eli. This is mine. So then, like literally the other day, I'm like, I let him say that. I'd be like, yeah, yes, you are. You are Eli. Yep. I'm glad you know who you are. He'd be like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I'll be on the bed. He's like, that's my bed. I'd be like, okay, yep, that's yours. Be like, that's my couch. Get off my couch. That's my couch. Like, cool. But normally, as a parent, you would say, yo, that's not yours. This is mine. But so then I started letting it play out. And then he'd be like, yeah, that's my TV. That's my TV. I'm like, yep. And then I looked at it. I'm like, it's yours because it's mine. So then I looked at God. So when I say that house is mine, yep. God is like, yep, that's yours.
Because it's
when
mine.
I say that property, that's gonna be mine. Yep, that's yours.
Same exact thing.
It's yours because it's mine. Everything in the earth is God. So I'm like, oh, that literally hit me while he's saying that. I'm like, yeah, it is yours. This house,
100%.
It is yours. It is yours. Yep,
exactly.
Because it's mine.
Exactly. It's
so
ours.
I'm not taking the authority over you and saying, no, it's not yours. It's mine.
Own that. Because you're teaching him mental ownership. So now when he gets of an age where he starts to identify what he really wants, you know the first thing he's gonna say? That's mine.
Yeah.
That's mine. And guess what? And what you do, see how you branch it off is you setting the foundation for him to own what he believes.
Yeah.
And what you can start do is guide him towards what he's saying. All right. He'd be like, oh, that's my car. All right, cool. Let me show you how to get it. Right. Or that's my anything. Let me show you how to get it. And he gonna look at you as the foundation of promotion. Right. So he could be like, yo, daddy, I was thinking I want to open up a business. All right, cool. You're right. That business is yours too. So let me show you how to get it. But if you automatically go, which is what parents do, they go, oh, no, that's mine. You got to get your own, or this is mine. Right now, what you're doing is you're talking down to them again. Right. It's like that consistent talking down subconsciously. And it's like you're badgering them, and slowly but surely, it goes from, oh, that's mine to,
and even within that, with his sister, Leah be like, no, that's mine. Be like, it's yours, it's hers too. So learn to share. So now I can teach him sharing within what's yours. Like, no, that's for both of y'all. Share. Learn to share. I'm like, all right. He's like, sharing. So it's like, but understand it's yours, but at the same time, don't hoard. Over what's yours. You know what
and it's the little things that they say now that turn into the big things that they do later. Right. Like one thing about Cam, from very, very young, we've spoken and we have so much dialogue that when he gets around his peers, he's a leader vocally. It's very rare that you see a child who's a vocal leader. Right. His actions match his words. What it stemmed from is us as when he was a baby, And I just let him grow and let him say what he got to say. If he says it's
Yeah.
mine, you right, that's yours.
Yeah.
And I want to do this, let's do it. Or
Yeah.
anything that he says, I'm promoting it, right? But what you do is, this is why character is so important, because it's like this. He'll tell me like, oh, I want to play basketball. This is what he'll tell me. I go, well, look, it takes a lot of work to play basketball. If you want to be serious about it, we could be serious, but it takes a lot of work. Nah, daddy, I could do it. I could do it. Whatever it take, I'll do it. Okay, cool. No beef, no harm, no foul. I'm not putting it on you. You decide what you want to do. But he's already owning it in his mind, right? So it's the same thing as the train.
Yeah.
He's gonna tell you what he wants. It's just, he's just coming on your track to get to that goal.
Yeah.
And I think what happens a lot of times, and I listen to parents talk to their children, and parents subconsciously just repeat what was said to them.
Yeah.
To their children. And when you do that without actually acknowledging what is being said, you could actually be passing down a generational curse.
You won't even notice.
And not even notice.
That's why you have to continue to work on myself, because I had to, if I didn't constantly work on my mentality, I would be doing a lot of the same stuff my parents did to me.
Oh yeah. Trust me, I know. I know. I listen to this.
I'm having to catch myself because I'm like, oh, that's my mom right there. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, nah, I'm wild. I be having to break a lot of habits.
Nah, but it's like this, right? And I'm not gonna say I didn't have to break a lot of habits as far as life, but one thing that my parents were always conscious of, that I was outspoken. They never, I mean, I might not had a lot of dialogue with my father, but he knew I spoke, right? So he was more conscious of certain things when it came to me, meaning his expectations were a lot higher for me. It's just that you can't expect much from a child if you don't equip them with the tools to accomplish what you're expecting them to do. So if you're not a parent that empowers your child to be great, you can't expect great things out of them. Because what will happen is, if you have high expectations for your child, but you don't equip them, what will happen is failure. And then between you and your child and that failure, not only will he feel you're failing, he'll feel your failure towards him, right? From that perspective of looking down, like, dad, you should have did this. But that is a lot for a child to take in mentally.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those kids, like, I had to deal with a lot of emotional depression because I didn't ever feel like, yo, my pops love me, or I could please him, or and there's nothing worse than a child who feels like they can't please their parents. Because what more does a child want than for their pops or their moms, mainly their dad, no offense to mom, but mainly their dad, to go, yo, that was a good job, my boy.
Yeah.
Did that.
Yeah.
I like that. So even to the point now, right? If I'm training with Cam and I'm big on attitude, so you got to bring it, right? If he don't bring it, and I'll be like, yo, forget it, let's stop. I'll give him some time, go sit down, whatever you want to do. I don't make a big deal about it. I just say, let's stop, because you're not bringing it the way you're supposed to.
Yeah.
He'll come to me after, he'll be like, yo, like, daddy, I'm sorry, I didn't, like, basically, I'm sorry I let you down, or whatever this is. And then I just remind him, like, there's nothing that you could do that's going to let me down.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is just basketball. I always focus on the subject at hand. This is just basketball. What disappoints me is if you don't bring the right attitude towards anything. So whether it's basketball, whether it's school, I care about effort. So it's not about what we're doing. It's about what you bring to the environment where you're creating. I always tell them, you got to set the standard, right? So if you don't bring it, that's not only a bad look on you, and it's a bad look on me as the parent, right? Because I'm supposed to teach you how to bring it every time. I'm supposed to teach you how to do your best every time.
Yeah, that goes back to what you said. I think you said it last week, where you're raising children to grow up to be kids.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm very conscious of, and I never want my child to grow up to have to deal with things that he or she dealt with as a child. Because now you're moving backwards. So, like, that's why I don't I'm not the person that'll teach my child what a hypocrite is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said before, I'm not gonna tell my kid don't sell drugs and do that, but that's all I'm listening to in the car.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because then it's like my kid is like, that's all he's listening to, but he's telling me not to do that. So that's why there's a lot of things, like as far as for my parents, they didn't listen to rap or trap music. So I can't blame them for the trap music that I was listening to and the influence it had on me. They told me not to. So I can never say to them like, yo, y'all was listening to it. I can never say that to them because they didn't do that. They told me not to, but I did. So my children will never be able to say I'm the one that taught them hypocrite lifestyle.
A hypocritical lifestyle. Yeah, I agree with that. It's even deeper than that though, because everybody's gonna have their own battles, meaning personally as a parent. And what they might have not taught you to listen to that music, right? But they didn't exactly teach you how to come talk to them about the music.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Shut it off. What are you listening to?
Yeah, just shut it off. It's like, whoa, why I gotta listen to that? So for example, like if Cam is watching a movie and it says a curse word in it, I'll pause the movie. I'm like, yo, I know this is a Marvel movie. I know you like, but don't let me hear you talking like that.
Yeah, I had to do the same thing.
And then he'll be like, no, I know, yes, daddy, yes. And for a long time, I cursed. A long time.
Yeah.
And Cam used to be like, daddy, stop cursing. Right. And then of course with Kayla, it was like double, right? And it came home where I was like, yo, I'm gonna just stop. So I just stopped. And now when I tell him don't curse, he doesn't go to me, bad daddy, you curse. He goes, no, daddy, I understand.
Exactly.
Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
It's parenting is such a intricate, delicate.
It never ends.
You're a parent forever, bro.
Like you continually keep learning.
You continue, and this is where I run into. I guess let's get into a little bit of the cultural concepts of parenting, and I guess this is what the Caribbean households y'all deal with it way worse than many.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's. I feel like you guys were so suppressed and underappreciated for who you were.
Yeah.
Right. And they did it so convincingly that it became like brainwashing.
Yep.
Right. And I'm pretty sure they got it from their parents and so on and so on.
Passed down.
Right. But if you get to the root of it, this is why I say it's just a slave mentality, because I'm pretty sure at the root of where this all stems from is parents who were slaves and they were trying to raise kids, and they speaking to their kids like the master spoke to them. Be seen and not heard. Do what I say, don't not what I do.
Yeah.
Right. This is mine. You got to get your own. Right. All of these things you're perpetuating generationally. Right.
Yeah.
And then it comes to a point where it goes, well, where the heck did you get that from? Where did you get, like when Eli said, this is mine, right? If you wouldn't have caught yourself, you'd have been like, you didn't pay for nothing in this house.
Yeah.
It's mine, right? Yeah. But you are conscious of you're raising a king. Kings don't actually move with insecure thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? What they say is theirs is theirs. Right? Life and death is what? It's in the power of the tongue.
Yeah.
So when he's speaking authority over things, yes, son.
Yep. That is yours.
That is. You're right, 100%.
Yeah.
But what you teach him, what you did was you broke it down to the point of you said, look, it is yours, but you have responsibility when you have
it.
So you have to share with your sister. And it goes deeper than that, where it's like, not only do you have to share with your, the reason why you have to share, period, is because it's a good trait to have as a young man. Now, sharing with your sister specifically is important because you're her big brother, and big brothers are always supposed to protect their big sister. They're always supposed to provide for. These are the things you're teaching them. If you would have kept the philosophy of this is mine, no, you got to get your own. Which I'll be honest, a lot of parents have that. A lot. There's so many. like, especially in the Caribbean households, I see it's I struggle to get this, so you got to struggle.
You got to struggle to get
you
it.
got to know it, right? Instead of looking at it where it's like, hey, I got this as a foundation. You guys build on this and get more and go get more. And then your kids go get more.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, 4 or 5 generations down the line, you got generational wealth. Every other culture does that except for the Black community. I mean, the Caribbean community too. It's rare that I ever see it, but they definitely have that analogy where it's like they want you to struggle because they struggled. And it's
that's tough. That's tough. I guess that comes from that slave mentality, like, but at the same time, I understand it, and only to this part where when you struggle for something, you appreciate it more. I get that side of it, but at the same time, I'm not gonna force you to struggle. If you struggle, that it happens, but I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna give you a stepping stool because I had to struggle to get this. No, you're gonna have the stepping stool. If you have to struggle to get to the next level, that's cool. I get it, but I'm not gonna give you the same struggle I had, so you can end up in the same spot.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's the mentality. Like, I struggle to get here, you have to struggle to get here.
Yeah.
No. I struggle to get here. You're here. You're not gonna struggle to get here. I'm here. If I don't get to that next level, you might have to struggle. You struggle to get there so that it's lifted up.
Of course. So when you say appreciative, right? This is why I have a big problem with people who have that mentality. There's nothing that I ever received in my life from the minute I became a parent that I felt like was for me. And what I say that is this: anything that is good has happened to me was for my kids, for my legacy, for my wife. So my appreciation factor isn't for what I have as much as who got it for me. So I don't put value in a home, although I'm grateful for it, right? But I appreciate God for putting me in a situation to get a home to give to my children. And if you're worried about your children not appreciating what you have earned, you know what that says about your parenting is that you didn't communicate effectively. So your kids are a reflection of who you are.
That's true. That's why you see a lot of spoiled brats.
Yeah, and listen, I say this all the time. Like, I'm a big, and Marielle said, like, I'm a big spoiler when it comes to my kids and Mary, like, just period.
Yeah.
But it's not in shame, right? It's not in vain. It's not in vain. There we go.
Yeah.
Right? Because I get it and I explain it. I don't ever take credit for it. Anything we got, listen, God been holding us down for a long time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if he allowed me to provide this for you, who am I not to do it?
Exactly.
If he's allowing me to provide a certain lifestyle for my family, who am I not to do it? I'm not going to be the one to block what they call blessings, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be that one. And
that's
not
passing
putting
that humbleness.
Yeah, I'm not putting value on materialistic things. What I'm saying is I want my family to be happy. So if certain things make them happy, I don't care. I'll get it for you. It's cool with me. But I don't ever take credit for it. I don't think, like, they'll say, like, if Cam be like, oh, thank you, Daddy. Thank God, my man.
Yeah.
Right? And you teach them that type of mentality. And what happens is all of those things that our parents, and I'm blessed in the sense of my parents are never like that. I'll give that to my parents. I had a lot of struggling with a lot of struggles with my parents, but that's one thing I never had to struggle. My parents never put that type of mentality into my subconscious mind of I don't want to say I wasn't worth it, but in the sense of, you see how your voices were limited. Right. Matter of fact, I might have to take that back because my father had that mentality. Now that I think about it, he did. Like, he might have not imposed it in that sense of this is mine, right? But he definitely had that I'm the man of the house type of mentality. Right. And it caused that disconnect where it was like I felt like I couldn't talk to him, that kind of thing. But just as far as saying it directly, like the way your parents did, and like Caribbean household, I never got that. They never did that to me. But that, to me, that's more harmful than anything, because planting seeds in the subconscious mind is, it's a rough thing to reverse.
That's real. And planting seeds in the subconscious mind, you can do that in a good way. Like, for an example, being married and parenting. When just the other day, me and my wife, we were in the kitchen, we cleaning up, and my kids were sitting there, and I was doing the dishes, and I'm like, I'm showing them that a man can do dishes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm cleaning the dishes and I'm looking at them. They sitting there watching. I'm like, see, now that stigma of men don't clean, they don't do this. I'm showing them like, no. Yeah, even for my daughter, because she sees that, oh, men, they do dishes too. They can. So she's not gonna be in a relationship with guys say, I don't do dishes. What you mean? My father's a man's man and he do dishes. And then my son, he's not gonna sit there and be like, I don't do dishes, I don't do laundry.
Yeah.
Nah, you do that too. So I feel like that's why it's important too in the marriage to show the example. That's parenting itself.
Yeah, your biggest influence on your kids are going to be what you do, not really
exactly.
What you say. I mean, the harmful things that you say, it's rough. It's rough in the sense of it's hard to break the mental barriers that you create with it, but the actions that you portray, they are visuals, right?
Yeah.
So what you're doing is what you're teaching your kids. There's really no such thing as gender roles in a household, which is
yeah.
I mean, I had the same problem. Like my father, I never seen him clean up, cook nothing, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I make breakfast all the time, and I look forward to making breakfast. I turn music on, I get busy. You know what I mean? I chef it up. I'm into that.
I remember one time my wife's grandfather was there, and I was doing dishes, and she was cleaning them. He was like, "You be doing dishes?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "For real?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Man, this ain't them old times, man. We do what we got to do over here."
Yeah, we need to go back to 1940.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, we do dishes over here, bro. We try to help out, and because I was looking at it too, because like during the week, like I don't do dishes a lot because I'm running around working all that, and then I notice, and I'm like, wow, we're able to clean up so much faster doing it together.
Yeah.
Than if I just let her do it by herself.
True.
And then we were spending more time together. We're hanging out with the kids because we got it done. So I'm like, I don't know where that comes from, where the wife has to just cook and clean everything, and you just sit there and just watch and wait.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit of
I'm not gonna teach my kids to do that.
No, you don't have to. Plus, you want to be able to take care of yourself. When I had my apartment was spotless.
Yeah.
Cleaned up all the time, right? I just don't like mess. That's what it comes down to. I don't like mess, and I'll make sure that I keep that standard high, and my kids know that. One thing I do want to say about parenting, right? If we could sum it up into a couple points where you can just drive it home for clarity, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about punishment, right? How do you feel about punishing children? Like, what is your?
I think that word gets a bad
rap.
Yeah. Because it's like punishment. What is a punishment? When I think of punishment, it's getting washed up. When I was a kid, that's punishment. So now I'm more so on discipline. So
correction.
When I discipline, so-called punish my children, it's not just punishment and then I just walk away. I actually have conversation with them. So even my 3-year-old, like, what happened? I think like the movie thing where he said "shut up" to Leah. Now he got disciplined. He was crying a lot. He went and sat down, was crying. So after when he started calming down, I said, "Come here." He was still crying a little. And I said,
"You say discipline? What do you mean? You plucked him?"
Yeah.
Okay. That's nothing. Plucking is nothing.
Yeah, I put some paws on him.
Or you spanked him. You gave him a spanking.
Something like that. But
can't do it.
But so then he came back. I gave him a hug. I'm like, listen, you can't say that. That's not nice. You have to, if you want her to be quiet, you have to say, Leah, can you be quiet, please? You gotta be nice. That word stupid It's not a nice word. He was like, okay, daddy, I'm sorry. And go give her a hug, give her a kiss. And then now we back to normal. If I would have been like, yo, what's up with you, man? Where you learn that from? Go sit down. Now it's like, I can't say nothing. Mentality is mental. I messed up.
I got a question. I got a question for you. When you were spanking him, how did you feel?
I didn't really spank him. I just hit him one good time. Like, don't say that.
Oh, okay. Nah,
I don't spank like how I got beat. Like when I got spanked, I got beat with the belt. Sit there, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm ever gonna use a belt.
So did you pull his pants down? Was it like?
Nah, I don't do that.
Oh, it wasn't none of that. Okay.
Nah, they did that to me. I ain't doing that.
I'll be honest.
He's gonna get that man hit.
Yeah, nah, I get you on that. Yeah. I did that to Cam one time.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me.
And as
I'm get to two though. Don't get to it. She get popped too.
Yeah, but if popping is different. I'm cool with popping. I did that to Cam one time. I pulled his pants down. I went to spank his butt, and I hit him like once or twice. Then I started crying. I couldn't believe I did it. I was like, yo, I just told him I'm sorry. Although he wilded out. He definitely was showing off. Like he was bugging. Yeah. But after that, I ain't never put my hands on him. I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? But I'm a firm believer in like popping and stuff like that. Yeah. But when I did I
put some hands on him, but I won't go that far. Pull the pants down.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a little traumatizing.
That's very traumatizing. And the crazy part is Cam doesn't even remember it because literally I couldn't even go through with it. Like I might have hit him like one time.
Yeah.
I just broke down like, yo, I'm bugging. You know what I mean? But all right, so that I could agree with that. Punishment, it has to be correction.
Yeah.
It has to be correction. That's it. Correct, and protect. And that's it, right? Explain it, hug it off, kiss, keep it pushing.
I'm not with the no discipline at all. Like I don't.
No.
I don't know. I don't. Maybe it's the way I was brought up. I just know I won't take it to the level that I was brought up. But I'm a firm believer in using your hands.
No, I agree. I'm big with the plucks. Pluck is my you know what I mean? A quick one like lightning. You know what I'm saying? It's good for them. You know. Yeah. So I guess the next thing I would ask is when it comes to communication style, what is going to be your philosophy as far as communication style? Because remember, they're young now, so these little conversations, they're cool.
Yeah.
It gets a lot more intricate as they get older. So
yeah.
So you're saying you're basically saying like you don't want to view them as your friends, right? You're not going to say like we're friends. Okay. So what type of approach are you going to have if that's what you're going to, if that's the philosophy you're going to go with? Like, okay, we're not friends. I'm your parent.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't, well, like you said, I wouldn't take that approach of like saying that, like, I'm not your friend. If they want to call me their friend, cool. But I'm just gonna make sure we still always have that communication. So it's not like I'm gonna make sure it's playing like, yo, listen, remember, I'm your parent. We are not friends. I'm not gonna take that approach. I'm still gonna give them the benefits of being a best friend. If they want to say like, Dad, you're my best friend, I'm not gonna be like, no, I'm not. I'm your parent. I'm gonna be like, of course I'm your best friend. Yeah, I'm your father. I'm your best friend. I'm everything. I'm always going to bring that to them. I'm everything to you. But I'm always constantly going to make sure I'm having open conversation with them so that it becomes natural to them. It didn't become natural to me until later on in life when I was older and I was like, well, I can say what I want now because y'all can't really do nothing.
Yeah, but that's not a friend though. That's just
I wouldn't call my parents my friends though.
That's you getting over whatever it is that y'all went through when y'all was young.
Yeah, I'm like I can say what I want. Like we cool. Like I feel like I have a better relationship now with my parents because I can say what I want than as a child.
Yeah,
I can have more open conversation, even if they're still gonna be hard headed. To me, it's fine. Like I'm still saying what I want. I don't need to. I'm saying, but I want that established with my kids from young, so that as they get older, we can have those deeper conversations where it's not they feel like they can't come to me.
Yeah.
So essentially, I'm gonna be their best friend, but I don't have to give them that title. If they want to give it that title, cool. I'm not gonna complain about that. But I'm your parent.
I do say a lot. I'd say a lot to Cam. I'd be like, we're best buds.
Yeah.
He'll be like, yeah, you're right, Daddy. We are best buds.
Yeah.
Like, but it's different for me because obviously he's not with me all the time.
Yeah.
So I have to overcompensate for the time when he's not with me. And this is why I say words are very important, because
Yeah.
he has it in my mind. Like, my dad is my best friend. We hang out together. We talk. So it's constant affirmation in his mind. Like, nah, but me and daddy, like, that's my dad, but that's really my best friend. Like, it's my bud. He'll just say, yeah, you my best bud. I'm like, you my best bud too, man. Like, you my guy. Like,
I think that's a good thing to have. I like that best friend thing, because it's like, now I give you a standard of what a best friend should be.
You setting
standards. That's why I like that. And it's almost like even like when it comes to sports, I don't want to be that sports dad. Sports, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you that I support you as a friend should.
Yeah.
So like, if we out there, we playing sports, you don't want to play no more. All right, cool. Like, I play football. I don't even want my son to play football.
Yeah.
Like, people thought, no, your son you gonna want your son to play football? Nah, I don't. I don't really want him to play football. Like, soccer's cool, baseball,
whatever he wants to do.
Whatever you want to do. But as far as that, I'm good on that, because I'm not gonna force him to do that, because then, like I said before, he's dealing with trauma from a child. Now he's older. He can't handle himself, because as a kid, my dad used to force me to play sports. I didn't want to play, but I thought that was the only time I'll spend time with him.
Yeah.
And now he's traumatized as a grown man, don't know how to be a father.
Yeah. It's a side note too, like, for all the parents who promote, sports as the only outlet for your children, that's too much pressure.
Yeah.
Right? Stop telling them that, if I can't afford your college, so if you don't make it in sports, or you got to get us out of the hood, you got to make it. Like, all of that stuff is detrimental to the child. You might feel like it's not, but it is. It's too much pressure on them for something that has a % chance of them becoming a professional.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? That's too much. You're doing too much. But listen, to each his own. I got another one for you. When it comes to empowering your child, what do you think is the best way to do that?
I feel like the way I'm going about it now, letting him know, like, yeah, you are who you say you are. You are who you say you are. And giving him that empowerment of, that's yours. You want to do it? You can do it. Because there was a point where he was doing something, he said, I can't do it. I'm like, I just pulled him. I was like, listen, don't ever say that. You can do whatever you want to do. And I say that now, it may go over his head, but if I'm constantly saying that to him, it's gonna stick. Because he'll miss a shot. We playing downstairs. He'll be like, start crying. I'm like, yo, it's okay. Come on, you can do it. Keep going. And then he'll be like, all right. And you see the confidence in him, and it's like, you can see literally me pouring into him. So that confidence from now, growing up, it'll stay with him and it'll be implanted in him. So I never tell him, like, you can't do that. Stop doing. You can't do it. It's fine. You're not good at that. I'm letting him, whatever he wants to do, I'm gonna empower him. You can do it, even if I see that he's trash. I'm still gonna tell him, like, yo, you can do it.
I got one for you too. Sidebar for all the parents, as far as the education system, right? The education system is formed to challenge the African American kids, especially in the lower income communities, to make them feel as if they're less than or dumb, whatever the word is. So it's even with school. I take the same approach with school. A lot of people think I'm very slack with school, but it's not really that. I just realized that there's a couple of things that he's definitely going to need. He's going to need to know how to read, write, do math.
Yeah.
Basic math.
Yep.
Right. So for me, my approach for school, it's not lax, but it takes his confidence into consideration a lot more than I guess another parent, right? Yeah. So a bad grade doesn't mean that much to me, right? Or struggling any subject doesn't mean that much to me. And I only say that because I know every child develops at different speeds. So although they might not get it right now, later on they might get it. And it's important not to compare your children to other children. Because although they might be good in one area, right? A kid might be a scholar. They might struggle in speaking, or they might not be an athlete, or whatever the case is. So it's important to identify your child's strong points and harp on those, right? Let's not point out let's not ride their weak points to the point of it affects their good, strong points. Let's keep it in a positive perspective where it's like, okay, you might not struggle, you might struggle with reading comprehension. Because Cam, he doesn't pay attention. He struggles with reading comprehension.
Yeah.
I said, okay, but I know why you struggle with it. You don't pay attention.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna sit here and bash you about it.
Bash him. Yeah.
I'm gonna just say, yo, you gotta pay attention. You know, let's do it like this. Let's try let's take notes. Let's figure it out. But one thing that I do pay attention to is his interaction with his environment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very big on how's he acting in school, right?
Yeah.
So even with school, I'll go to parent teacher conference, and they'll say, you know, this way he's struggling, blah blah. I'm like, okay, I understand. You know, we'll work on it. I go, how's he behaving though? Two things I pay attention to. If the teacher goes, you know, he's a good kid, he just talks a lot. Now, parents, pay attention to this. If you teach your kids to be vocal, they're gonna talk a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It has no boundaries. Now, I'm not saying you don't teach them time and place, but understand you have to consider when is time and place. So, and if they understand what that means, right? It's probably not till last year Cam really understood. You're not supposed to be talking in class. Right? But I wasn't gonna bash him for it. I'm gonna say, you can't be talking in class, But then at home, I'm saying you need to speak up.
That's true.
Now I'm confused. Like, you told me to speak up.
Yeah.
So do I speak up or I don't speak up?
Yeah.
So it's important to understand the level of maturity that your child has as you implement things into their life.
Yeah.
And even more than that, take things into perspective, right? There's certain ages that are transition ages. And transition ages doesn't necessarily mean that your child will transition during that time. Every child's transition is different, but it's a roundabout age. So Cam is going into his double-digit years. He's about to turn 10. So that means, he's about to be 10. So that's a transition year, right? Between 10 and 12 is a transition because he's going from, you know, single digits, that double digits, and now teenage. So it's very important for me to start implementing certain strategically, you know, approaches to life within him, meaning he can make his own decisions, right? And I'm not going to knock him for it. You tell me what you want to do, we're going to do it. Certain principles, like, you have to pay attention now. Like, before you were younger, so it was okay. But now that you get older, I need you to have hyper focus. I need you to be more conscious of this. Yeah. And you elevate your teaching according to their maturity. Right? If a child is 11, but they still have the mentality of a 4-year-old, I mean, that's a little drastic. You have to alter your teaching according to that. You can't get frustrated. You have to learn your child and learn what works. That's the reason why I feel like I've been successful with Cam, because I study him. So I know where he's at a certain point. Even to the point where I underestimated how mature he was, in the sense if he's asking me about, you know, why you and mommy not together, stuff like this, where it's like, oh, okay, so you know what's going on. All right, cool. Now I can have that conversation, and it's a normal conversation. It's not even a weird conversation, because we've been talking for so long that we could just be chilling. He'll just ask me just random questions. Yo, what's this? Or why do you listen to Dr. Miles Monroe? He'll be like, oh, so he talks about the kingdom. Then he'll be like, oh, well, what's the kingdom? Or what's this? And he'll be like, so God runs the kingdom, and then we're his kids. I'm like, yeah. And because he's adopting the philosophies that I'm imposing on him according to his maturity. So that's just a little sidebar. As far as the educational system, don't look so deep into it, and don't be afraid to let your child mature at their own progress. Don't compare them to anybody, because every child is amazing. Period. Right? And don't judge it according to these test scores and stuff like that. Listen, I'll be the first to tell you, I graduated from high school with a region, not even a region diploma, what is it, a local diploma.
Me too.
I took no regions, right? I'm finishing my master's in December, and then I'm going for my PhD. And then I'm going for my PhD in the spring. So trust me, those tests, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, see, watch your kid now. See what they're actually really into. Pay attention to them. You got to pay attention to them.
Pay attention. Talk to them. They'll tell you. They'll give you the clues. It's just up to you to be mature enough as a parent to identify it and water that seed, because what they're identifying is what God actually gifted them to do. Right? But I always say, let's find the child's gift. And then let's teach them how to make it a business. Right?
Don't ever be like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. Man, you're young. You don't know what you're talking about. That's one thing I don't ever want to say to my child. Nah, you're young. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't want to do that. I ain't never trying to say that.
Don't say that. Listen to them. Like, children are so smart. And I have a big, children are my soft spot. I love children. Like
Yeah.
it's easy for me to identify with children. That from that 1 to I want to say like 14
Yeah.
homies. After that, I don't know. They're a little crazy.
Ah.
They're a little much, but
Yeah. 14 and up, I love them. I love
yeah,
them
I
teenagers.
don't got that. I don't really got it for the teenagers like that. Like, yeah, I got it. But all right, so let's finish with this one. How do you think God's relationship with his children has influenced your relationship with your children?
Oh, that was shown to me this week with that situation, because it was like, that is his because it's mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at this world and I'm like, everything in it is God's. And so if I say this land, this house, this car, this project that we want to do, it's mine, I can say that because my father is his.
Mm-hmm.
So now when I see that, it's like, wow, that's the ultimate father.
100%.
That's the ultimate father. So when my child says, I want something, or this is mine, I want to do it, how can I deny him? How can I deny him and say, oh, you can't do that? That's
Or it's
too big
not
for
yours.
you.
Or it's not
Yeah,
yours.
that's not yours. What are you talking about? Like, no, yeah, it's yours because it's mine.
Mm-hmm.
So having that mentality, it pushes you for your child to have the mentality of, I'm not a borrower.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lender.
Mm-hmm.
I am a king. I can do what I say I'm going to do.
Fact.
And I have the support of my father.
Mm-hmm.
So that there is no I can't.
Mm-hmm. It's
I
just
will. Yeah, win. It's just win.
It's only a matter of time. The promises of God is just a matter of a moment. You just gotta wait for the time frame. It's patience.
Yeah.
So one thing I will say that I learned throughout, parenting, is that when you identify who your child is, mentally, especially, right?
Yeah.
You get a glimpse of how God views you.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a very small glimpse because God
Yeah.
he obviously he's the creator, so it's totally different. But it's just a small glimpse. I always said it, it's like, if I look at my child, I'm like, yo, I love you. You're really you're me, right? We're one, right?
Yeah.
We're connected, right? It
Mhm.
just explains God's spirit internally with me.
Yeah.
So when he looks at me, he goes, you're me. We're one.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So when I speak to my son, there's a lot of times I hold my sons together and I can feel God holding us together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, dang, man, that's
Yeah.
that's what I need. Right. So when I view my relationship with God, it got to the point where the closer I got to him, the better father I became.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
They ran parallel. Ran parallel. And the closer I got to him, the better husband I was, the better friend I could be.
Yeah.
All of the things that meant something, they were magnified through my seeking of who he was to me.
Yeah.
So it goes back all the way to the point of when you start to plant seeds into your child's mind, you can never think that because you're the parent, you're greater than the child.
Yeah.
That's not that was never your position. Right? God authority is to the creator, but it's not authority to tell you what to. It's a manuscript.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the Bible. The Bible's a manuscript.
Yeah, I'm trying
of
to
what
guide
to do,
you.
to
I'm trying to
guide you. That's what a good parent does. It guides, empowers, and teaches you the ways of the Father. That's what a good parent will do.
Yeah.
So that direct correlation between being a good father and having a good relationship with God, they cannot be separated.
Yeah.
Right? Because you will be a walking hypocrite.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? It's hard for me to accept when guys say, oh, I love you, son. Right? But, and this is something I had to really, it was personal for me because obviously I'm not with Cameron's mom. So when I used to say, like, Cameron, I love you, but I don't love your mom.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
That was an eye-opening experience for me because it got to the point where I had to accept that I brought you on this earth and I I almost hindered you in a way.
Hmm.
Right? So me having that type of burden, it was like, all right, I know that I can't fix this. I'm not going to be with his mom. So he's going to come into a broken home.
Yeah.
But what happened was through my repentance, which is just a change of mind, I started to view it differently. Instead of trying to fix my relationship with her or Cam, I said, let me fix my relationship with God, because I violated him before I violated my child. Right? My violation was first to God. So what happened was I had to repair us. And through me repairing us, he brought me and Cam closer together.
Yeah.
So a lot of times brothers don't look at it like that. It's like you want to point fingers, but the truth of the matter is you have to fix your relationship with God before any other relationship. Because if you don't, what'll happen is God will ignore you. He'll ignore you, because if you're not seeking him, I don't even want to say ignore you, because now that I think about it, if you don't seek him, he can't ignore you.
He can't even ignore you.
You're right. So technically, if you don't seek him, it's impossible for
so
you
have
to
to
connect
seek
with
the
him.
kingdom. Like you have to seek it.
You can't. So what I realized is, as I was just going through the process, I'm like, yo, I knew I reached a point. I don't even want to call it forgiveness, but I reached a point of moving past the situation. And I felt like God said, all right, you stood the test, right? And not that he was testing me. I violated and I had consequences. But I withstood the consequences, right? I didn't backslide from the consequences. I took them on as a man. Whatever came with it, I was cool with it. I dealt with it and moved forward. But my reassurance was when I did have Christian and when I did have my wife, and the way it all just came together so genuinely, and the way he views, you know, Mario, like he calls her Umi, like, you know what I mean? Like the way he views her and his brother and our family. Once that completion came together, I was like, all right, God, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Good looking, because it was a long, hard fight, right? It was a lot to deal with. So ultimately, when it comes down to any relationship, you have to consider as you grow as a person and you really develop your relationship with God. And I'm not talking about sugarcoating it like, oh, I pray to him every day. Like I'm talking about when you pass, I pray our Father every day. When your conversation, it goes back to like the way you have it with Eli, right? When the conversation is just so normal that it don't even feel like prayer. It just feels like I'm just chopping it up. I'm just chopping it up with my best friend. That's when you'll start to see the significant change in your relationships.
And I think that's one thing we do really good at is explain to people, because we might not say it, but in a way, our ultimate goal is to help people understand practically, like, yes, he's a big God, but putting him in a practical sense where you can understand it and use it in your daily life. Like the example of the earth is the Lord. So if I say it's mine, it is mine, but because it's his. So I can, when my son says that this house is mine, that bed is mine. Yeah, it's yours because it's mine. That gives people to not make it so past their heads to where they're like, oh, I get it. It's really like a father. So it's not this super I can never understand beyond my ways God. It's like, oh, this is very practical. I can understand what they're saying, but it's still a big God, but we can bring it down to a practical sense.
In the sense of what you're saying, he's a creator. This is why he's big, because he's a creator. He created all of this. But in retrospect of who we are, he created this whole world, right? But he created us with a special image, his image. So our creation was a lot more personal. So it's not that God isn't big. It's not that he's not everything that we can't imagine or we can imagine. It's not that. It's that he doesn't want you to think that he's untouchable in the sense of your relationship. And I think, and this goes back to how you're brought up, because if God doesn't view you as, oh, you're just my little son, you're just this, like, oh, I own it, right? That type of mentality, then why should we as parents teach that to our children?
Exactly.
Right? What gives us the authority to do that to our kids?
And I think that's where I grew from, with growing closer to God, realizing, oh, I don't have to be a dictator over my kids. No, I have to just guide them.
That's it.
I mean, that's it. I have to guide them. Don't, just because they don't go the way I want them to go, I'm not gonna punch them in the face.
Yeah, or disown them.
What does God do? You want to go that way? All right.
I'm not gonna override your freedom.
I'll be here when you get back.
Yo, one thing I will say is that my friend's father, he used this analogy. I love it. He said, "I'll let you drown." He said, "I will let you." What did he say? Oh my God, I can't think of it. I think it was, "I will let you sink, but I won't let you drown." Right? I'll let you make your decisions and you might sink, but I'll never let you drown.
Wow.
And I love that analogy for parents. And and that was a good one for me. But ultimately, this relationship series was fire.
Yeah, this was fire, bro.
This was a good one, bro.
This is a good stamp in the Blood Brothers podcast, man.
Yeah, this is episode 19, man. 19 episodes in. I
19
remember just
weeks
starting
straight.
We've been getting to it. We've been getting to it, man. I want to thank everybody for listening.
Yeah, everybody that watched, everybody that listened, I really appreciate. And I want to say, me personally, I'm not for just numbers. I want people that's actually gonna take what we say, and put it into practice. So I would rather 10 people watch it, and those 10 people actually take what we say and put them into practice, than 100, 200 people that just listen just to listen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think we're not really big on entertainment. We're big on education.
Yeah.
Right. It's more let's educate each other. And one thing about us as a whole, we're constantly evolving. So so the things that we're learning is beautiful that we can put out. So if ever we weren't here, our kids could go back and go, oh, this is what my dad was like. This is it, you know.
Because what we're saying the principles don't change.
I love principles.
You know what I mean? So, like, it's not something we're gonna say with 10 years from now. It's gonna be like, oh yeah, we was wrong about that. We don't really think that way now. We don't think you should get married. We don't. That's never gonna change.
No, it's not. And I think even more than that, you guys have to just consider. We spoke about marriage. We spoke about
friendship.
We spoke about being a parent. All of these things, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's hard, and this is just a side note. I know it's hard to let people go sometimes in your life.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. And a lot of people, for me, I'm not saying I just do it off the whim, but even if it hurts me, I know the importance of carrying dead weight.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to these, you know, and something resonates with you, and you realize, like, you know, I don't really have the type of friends or the type of relationship, or I'm not the type of parent I want to be, you just have to consider that and, you know, make necessary steps to be better. Whether that's letting go of a friend, whether that's, you know, a guy, you know, claiming that he wants to be with you, but he's scared to commit to you permanently.
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, you don't have a good relationship with your child. I mean, all of these things, they play a major part in your development.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and even letting go of the past too.
Like,
if you're gonna be a father, if you are a father and your father wasn't there, don't hold that against your child. They have nothing to do with that.
Nothing at
you
all.
Let that go in the past. That's why you got to deal with yourself every day, constantly working yourself. Like, what issues do I have? What do I need to work on? Continue to work on yourself so that you don't pass those things to your child.
That's a great way to end it right there.
Yes, sir.
Got anything left for the people?
Man, in relationships, man, any type of relationship you in, there might be some ups and downs, but we got a father. We got to keep him first. So keep God before anything, and he will guide you through it.
I like that. And you know my saying, strive for perfection. And don't let nobody tell you can't be perfect. You could be whatever you want to be.
Yep.
Right? But if you happen to fall short, it's okay, because your standards will still be higher than majority of the people walking around these parts.
Yeah.
You dig? Hope y'all enjoyed it. Relationship series is wrapped up. We'll see y'all next week. Holla.
Yep.